Yeah, we didn't see Draymond or Gary downstairs at practice. Do you have anything to share about either of their statuses?
Gary practiced today, so I don't know what his status is for tomorrow's game, but he's making strides. And we didn't scrimmage, but we did have some live, half court stuff, and he went through everything. So I don't have any updates beyond that. And the Draymond stuff, everything is just private. That's behind the scenes, and really don't have anything to comment on that front.
We know obviously there's a lot of players to get into a rotation already, and then when GP2 is back, when Draymond is back, it's still up in the air. But you do have two more players coming back in. Do you have to start making some real solid decisions there, or are you thinking about that, realizing you've got even two more coming? What's kind of the mindset with all these things kind of floating around with your rotation?
I think about it every day. That is my job, of course, but it's really hard because I think I've told you guys this, but some years it's just really obvious who your top 9 are, and you just roll with those guys, and the guys 10 through 14 understand roles, and you work with them, and you try to fit them in to keep them going. But this year is very different in that regard. I think we play 13 guys, in the rotation. Any one of them every one of them is qualified to be out there, and could make the case that they should be out there. But you can only play 9 or 10, so very difficult decisions. I had to make one the other night, and Moses only played the 2-minute stretch in the second, and Moses has played well for us this year, and that was difficult. I talked to him before the game to let him know that was happening. But to your point, we get Gary back, we get Draymond back. Those questions get louder, and we have to figure that out as a staff.
Steve, kind of in that same vein, when you made a change to go to Brandon instead of Wiggins, you said hopefully sometimes guys need a jolt. Wiggins seems like he's responded kind of the way you wanted him to. What's been your evaluation of how he's played these last, I think, 5 or 6 years?
Wiggs has been great. Looks like a different guy. He's attacking the rim. He's getting fouled. He looks more fluid, shooting the ball. He's really responded well, and was maybe our best player in Denver, and so I'm really thrilled with the way he's responded and the way he's playing, and hopefully that continues.
Do you like having him anchor that second unit? Because the whole second unit's been playing well for you all year, but having him kind of be that one main guy out there, is that a good role for him, or do you want to see him keep pushing and try to work his way back into the starting?
Yeah, again, we could have this conversation about so many guys on our team, but I think Wiggs has been a nice addition. The way I look at it, Chris and Dario kind of anchor that second group. They're the constants, and we've tried different people around them, but those two guys in every lineup combination fare really well. So that unit is really based around them, but Wiggs has really given that group another attacker and a post-up guy. You saw in Denver, he scored 3 or 4 hoops right at the rim. And that's what we need from Wiggs. But he can do that with the starting group too. So if he keeps playing well, then he very well could end up back in the starting lineup. But, we're just kind of taking it day by day.
You probably saw Kuminga wasn't, I don't think he was complaining, but he was on the borderline of that about how much game he has that he can show. And then sometimes he's right back on the bench. He'd like to play more, I'm sure. How much communication do you have with him just about that? I'm sure it's continuous, but I'm sure you want all your players to want to play more, but sometimes you do see in him that he does different stuff. How much is it on your mind? Like, I really have to make sure he plays, but then you've got obviously the roster crunch too.
Yeah. We talk every day. We watched a bunch of film today together. So I'm thrilled with JK's development. I think what he's doing a better job of right now is just getting the ball out of his hands quickly when it comes to him. So it's a quick swing when we have an advantage. I've seen him he had 5 or 6 assists over the last 3 games where he's caught it and immediately swung it to Steph or Clay for an open shot. And those plays early in the season he wasn't seeing. He was catching and holding, and our offense was getting stopped. And so plays like that he's starting to improve upon. There's still a lot that goes into winning. I don't mind those comments at all. Every guy wants to play, and JK is a really talented guy. But every game I have to read the game. And Wiggs was our best player. He's playing, in that position. We decided to go with Wiggs down the stretch, and those are easy decisions for me. So. The game before, I think JK finished, and he was playing great. And it's just going to vary from game to game for everybody, and that's just where our team is right now, where JK is too.
One thing that he said in that story is that sometimes he comes out of the game not knowing what he did wrong.
Yeah.
I guess how much teaching has to happen in those moments for him in particular compared to maybe someone else?
More with the young players for sure. And so, a day like today, we had yesterday off. So a day like today, I show him those reasons. I show him the plays that we need him to improve upon and do something different. And so he's still a young player with very little experience, as foundationally. And so there's a lot of plays that, you just have to show them where the cut is, where the box out is, where the right position to be in is, because all these things matter when it comes down to a one-possession game like most of our games are. And so you show them on film, and, you move on to the next day. And he's done a great job of really embracing coaching, and we're going to continue to coach him and help him be in the right spots and make the right plays.
I asked you this before. I don't know if we get a different answer this time, but can you play Kuminga and Wiggins together more, or is that just the equation? It doesn't work with those two on the floor together.
I think it's something we will try with some maybe some new people around them. Their numbers are not good together, frankly. They're very redundant. The tape and the numbers haven't been great. So, but we recognize too that we have a level that we need to get to really compete at the highest level. And if those two guys can coexist on the floor, it does give us an elevated athleticism and elevated potential. But we have to find the right combination of people around those two.